Hello everyone, welcome to episode 18 of the Dark Souls 3 New Guy walkthrough. Right now we're going to the Grand Archives, and we are going to go through this place and get all the goodies. There are a lot of goodies here. A lot of really unique items, and a ton of upgrade material to include a Titanite slab. So right off the bat, you open up the door and you go in here and you're met with the second Crystal Sage. There are two of them, and they are twins. So pretty much just going to attack him and he's going to disappear. And you can fight him a bunch of different times in this place. Usually I like to get the fight over with in that first encounter or the second one. That first encounter probably would have went better for me if I used my barbed sword with bleed effect. But because he's weak to bleed and he bleeds really quick, so he do a ton of damage with bleed. But so you go to the right, you get a couple items, and then the way forward is to the left. You go up these stairs, and you head down this way. There is a crystal lizard, and you can hear the crystal sage. He's gonna just be doing his thing, pelting you with magic the whole time. This thing is just really bad at getting these. So the whole time he's going to be trying to harass you and shoot you with spells, and most of the time it's not going to be a problem, but sometimes it will be. So there's a bunch of thralls hanging around too. If you look around, you can see their glowing axes or their glowing flamberge. It's pretty easy to spot them, but I don't really spend a lot of time looking up, so they do a lot of damage if they get you in an ambush, like proper, just like any other time there's going to be thrall ambushes. It's going to be painful. So you want to make sure that you're vigilant. These guys are scholars. They have their heads dipped in wax, and they have candles. Some of them have candles lit on their head. And they have the scholar's candlestick, which is a dagger. It's a really good sorcery item. You keep it on your offhand, and it strengthens your sorceries by something like 12%, which is pretty significant. Sorceries have a lot of boosts to damage other than rings, which is cool. So you dip your head in wax, and that prevents the bookshelves and the arms from damaging you. Those arms will damage you, and they'll build up curse. I don't know. I guess the knowledge in them is that dangerous. I'm not really sure why, but you know, they must all be in braille because these guys have their heads dipped in wax. So you can have a really hard time reading with your head dipped in wax. But either way, you got your two crystal lizards and you get your twinkling titanites, and there is a lever right here. Yep. Pull the lever and a bookshelf comes down to your left. It's good to have a torch or a gargoyle flame spear. And there's a treasure chest. You're gonna get the witch's locks, which is a whip, and you get power within. It's really good. Not really good. It used to be much better. Pyromancy. It's still decent, but I don't see anybody ever really use it, so can't be that good anymore. Where it used to be like everybody ran it, now nobody runs it. So there's Titanite scale over here to the left, and more of those arms. And you're just gonna be dealing with a bunch of scholars mostly for now. You can do that little machine gun thing, where they'll just shoot a lot of darts at you quickly. And thankfully they don't stagger you, so it's not a big deal. You got this right here. It's another crystal lizard, twinkling titanite, and that's a spell that the crystal sage casts. So you can see it can get a little annoying. Like, it's not gonna do the most damage ever, but it's still gonna harass you. So pretty much I just decided to make sure I killed him right now. So like I said, very weak to bleed, just like the first crystal sage. Just has a lot more health and does more damage. But either way, it should be pretty easy fight. Just run up and just, you know, hit him like 6 or 7 times. Does like 2,600 damage. I may have ended that fight on the first go around if I did that to begin with. And then you get the crystal scroll, and that gets you the crystal soul spear and a lot of your like really good magics, like your high tier ones. So like your crystal weapon, probably just anything that has to do with crystals is going to be that. So you get the ambush to the left. The thralls now will throw fire bombs at you, which is a new behavior. And you want to be really careful because, as you can see, they just did a ton of damage to me with like not a lot of sloppy play. Like, don't get me wrong, it was sloppy, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't that bad. I only got hit like 2 or 3 times. So you want to be real careful with these thralls and these ambushes because they hurt. So over here, you see 2 thralls on the bookshelves. Like I said, if you look up, you'll see them. They're gonna drop down. I'm just gonna kill them real quick. And I don't know why I'm one-handing the spear right now. I should probably be two-handing it. There we go. So right now, if you stay along the outer edge, the books take a second to damage you. It's not instant if you're far away. So you can kind of get away with not being dipped with your head sometimes. So if you drop down there, you get Titanite scale. And there's another drop down that I missed that I'm going to do in a second when I notice it. Because this is not a live recording, so it's a little different. That item right there on that roof, I will not get, but it is a Titanite scale. At least 1. It might be like 2, but at this point, you should have so much upgrade material that it's not even a blip on your radar. And the, what is it? And you have the ability to buy Titanite scales. Granted, they're like 20,000 each, so that's pretty expensive, but it's not that bad. Like you just get a lot of souls at this point in the game very easily, and then your farming options a little later are going to be very good, especially if that rapport spell, pyromancy, because there's some winged knights. So you pull this lever, and then a bookshelf comes down in the first area. And that's going to lead to a chest that has a Titanite slab. And you kick down that ladder and you get the Titanite chunk right there. So I'm going to go down and get that Titanite slab because Titanite slabs are still, I mean, like I said, there's like 8 of them in the game. There's probably more now, but there's, you know, not a lot of them. And I don't know how many weapons you're going to know you want to have at +10 or +5 respectively right off the bat, but you know, more is better. Especially like if you want to get a shield up, like upgrading shields is actually really important if you are using them, because they upgrade the stability, so they make your shields, you take less stamina damage as you block. So if you get like a Black Knight shield and you have it plus whatever the highest way you can upgrade that in at, the highest level you can upgrade that, it really doesn't take any stamina damage when you get hit, which is fantastic. It's a really good shield. Or like you have like the moaning shield. The thing is like ridiculous. It's really, really heavy, but the stability on it is bonkers. And you couple that with, you know, great magic shield, and there's just pretty much nothing that can get through that. So right now I'm just waiting for this guy to appear, and while I do that, I remembered there was a piece of loot that I had forgot to get. The crystal chime. The crystal chime it's a catalyst for miracles and spells, so it's pretty decent. It doesn't have the unfaltering prayer weapon art, so you can't like hyper armor through stuff with it, but it still gives you options, especially if you're like a caster. Like you casting spells and you want to do some miracles, like some healing miracles or something, because healing miracles are pretty good still, and you should probably, oh there he is, so he's got his untrue white ring on to look like a white phantom, and since he's coming over and ambushing me, I'm just going to drink up and get to a place where I can actually fight him. So seems like the lag's not so bad. Like when he hit me, it was pretty immediate, the damage, yeah, so it's pretty good lag. So pretty much he's going to be really aggressive, and I'm just going to try to outspace him and just get him with the spear, mostly. And since he doesn't have any apparent parrying tools, I think he does have a Estus on his hip, but if he switches to it, it'll be obvious. Or maybe he's got a bow. Either way, it's not going to be, it'll be obvious if he goes to parry. Like right now, I just switched to my shield. It's pretty obvious. So he's just going to keep healing. And I should probably just throw an Undead Hunter Charm, but I'm being lazy. So if you see him rolling around a lot like that, what you can do is you can swing at him and then swing again, and you take like a little bit of a pause in between the first and second swing, or each additional swing, and then you'll start roll catching him like right there. I'm gonna do it again right there, and that works really well with this weapon. So it takes some practice to like not attack immediately, but roll catching is really, really good, especially if they're relying on it a lot. The rolling, that is. So now I'm going to dunk my head in those swacks, and we're going to speed this up because you've already seen all this, and this is a long enough video. So pretty much just run up here, and yeah, we should be getting to the new content for you watching right now. So right over here, there's a new little trick. I got all the books on the ground, and these books will reach up and curse and damage you. So right here is a ladder. That's how you can get down without taking damage onto this bridge, which is the next area of progression. So get the Shriving Stone right there, which is, I don't even know why that's an item. At this point, it's really easy to go from one to another. But I guess if you want to go from like poison to regular, that'd be worth it. I don't think there's anything even worthwhile on this balcony. I'm just killing them pretty much to do it. But these Lothric Knights are a little different because they'll use Crystal Weapon instead of Blessed Weapon. So you'll see they'll cast it on their sword, they'll get all crystally. It's pretty cool looking. And yeah, I don't think there's anything up here at all. Just a ledge to jump off of trying to kill yourself. Which I'm not, so. Just run up this way, and I'm going to go back up the ladder because there is a hidden room that has an Outrider Knight. And when you kill him, you are going to get the Outrider Knight set, which is a pretty neat looking set. It looks a lot like the Dancer set, but without like the veil. And the Dancer set, I think, looks pretty female from the back, regardless of your gender. And this will look, I don't know, gender nondescript. So this guy, he can be pretty aggressive, but it's no different than any of the other ones. He just has his, whoo-wee, that was close. He's got his straight sword, and he's gonna go and just hammer away at you. So I like to keep my distance and try to get him to like jump in, and then I'll try to just counterattack him when he's swung out. And there you go, you get your Outrider set. And right over here, if you listen really closely, this corpse is gibbering. You can hear him. There's two of them that do it in this place. I guess they died reading and they just lost, and I don't know, whatever. So you get Soul Stream from that, which is kind of like a, I don't know, like a Dragon Ball Z Kamehameha wave, which is kind of cool. If you can actually hit anybody with it, it does a pretty good amount of damage. You'll see videos on YouTube where people invade and they'll like ambush people with it. So right here, you can drop down and kill that crystal lizard, and right there is that Avelyn crossbow. Shoots 3 bolts at a time. So pretty much I'm realizing that I screwed up and I need to go get it. So you drop down. That's probably one of my better plunging attacks. That pretty much hit him right on. And then you can head back over here and pick up this Titanite chunk. And then there was an item on that knight that I killed that I didn't get because I got ambushed by that invader. And now you can climb this ladder and then jump down onto those bookshelves and get that crossbow, which makes your life a little easy. If you're using crossbows with exploding bolts, it's pretty good. They yeah, it just shoots 3 at a time. So yeah, it takes like one reload animation, so it's like click and then it's like pow pow pow, click pow pow pow, click pow pow pow. So it's pretty good. A lot of times you'll see people, you know, twinking their items to low level characters, or they'll do some low level invading with that and like the exploding bolts. So when you make this jump, you want to roll at the very least, because I rolled and I just barely made it. If you do not roll, you will fall to your death almost certainly. My buddy did it the other day. It was pretty funny. I told him to roll and he just walked. He's like, I thought I could make it. Wrong. So, as you noticed, I have sped up the video because this is all backtracking. You've seen this. This is just tons and tons of backtracking in this area, and yeah, I'm not that interesting. I can't make that much funny commentary for what's already an hour. I think this, without speeding this up, this was an hour and 30. No, it was an hour and 20 minutes. So, just by speeding this up, I cut a good like 20-25 minutes out of this video of just, you know, repeating content. So yeah, it's one of the nice things about doing the editing afterwards instead of the live commentary, although I do like the live commentary and speeding it up because I think my voice is hilarious sped up, but I can understand if you think my fast voice squeaky is probably more annoying than funny, but it's funny periodically, but this episode would be quite a bit of it would be that way, and I would be speaking so fast that you probably wouldn't catch half the crap I'm saying. So alright, so right over here there is a chest to the left of that doorway that I thought I was just about to miss, but I didn't. It is not a mimic. I don't know if there are any mimics in this area, but it's, at this point you probably have the habit of hitting every chest you see because there's no downside to it. I like how Dark Souls 2, the chests could break, and that was like a definite downside, and it made you fight away from chests, which was cool. Kind of wish they did that still, because there's no reason not to hit chests now, and I thought that was a good way to balance that. So you'd have to like really pay attention to detail on the second one to make sure that you weren't getting eaten by mimics. So this roof area right here is going to be a lot of gargoyles, and there's an area with some Corvians that I'm going to completely avoid because it is nonsense, and there's nothing there worth getting. Like, it's a consumable item, I'm pretty sure, or it's just not good. So I'm just going to completely ignore it because the Corvians now, there's like 6 of them and a storyteller, and they all rage and attack you like a billion times, and it is just a good way to get killed for no reason at all. So these gargoyles are the same as the ones in the profane capital as far as what to do with them. So over here, yeah, if you go down to the right, you drop down and see a little porch. Oh, so if you drop down to the right, you can kill those Corvians, and then that Titanite scale that I was talking about on that roof that I don't get is there after you do, you gotta like jump across like a little roof gap that's not 100% obvious. So if you ever knock those guys down, just leave them because they can't actually properly fly. So that's pretty much problem solved there. A lot of times they'll fly right off of cliffs. But like right over there is where that scale is, and it's just not worth it. So right over here there's going to be 2 of these guys, and I usually can't get both of them because this guy just wants to interrupt you with his big old stupid club. Don't worry about it. Pretty much just kill this dude and then just quit out and come back, and it resets the positions of all the living enemies and characters in the world. So yeah, pretty much just as soon as you kill him, quit out. And he is giving me the business right now. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I use a Divine Blessing because they're there to be used, and if you wait until boss fights to use them, you're gonna probably get killed trying to use them. So usually just use them when you need to, as having like an extra Estus. I used to use Humanity like that in the first one all the time, because there's no reason not to. Humanity was an excellent healing item. I kind of wish Embers you could just pop like that. That'd be really fantastic. So now I'm just quitting out, going back in. It's very sped up because there is no reason not to speed up the loading screen. So there he is. He spawned right there. Kill him, and you know, unintended consequence, you're gonna notice in a second. Oh no, that gargoyle came back, the one that fell, and he's got full health. So that's the only other thing about quitting out and coming back. Everything comes back with full health. So I'm just gonna run away from him because I don't feel like dealing with his shenanigans. And yeah, I'm gonna go this way. We got an item. I'm gonna take a right, and I go around this roof. And there's gonna be 2 gargoyles, and there is no reward for fighting them other than souls. So seeing as I don't need souls and I don't have any Estus, I'm just gonna go straight through this window, kill this dude, grab my ember, and then that's gonna be an undead bone shard with the other muttering corpse, which I always thought was a cool touch. You kick this ladder down, and that's going to be the shortcut to the bonfire, like the first one. And I'm just gonna bone to the shrine and use my souls because I have like 200,000. So that's a couple levels at least. That's oh, I thought I was going to the shrine. I clicked the wrong thing. But that's why we speed it up. So sell all my soul items, and I got 143,000. It's pretty good. That's a couple levels right there. And yeah. So now we're gonna go back after I indecisively run around. See if I have anything else I can sell. Yeah, because I think I need only a little bit for another level. Or maybe I'm just looking at the cool armor to buy. Either way, waste of time. So we're gonna go back, and then I'm gonna go to the inside the entrance to the right, kill the thrall. We're gonna go up that shortcut elevator, and then that's gonna bring us to that room with all of the scholars and the ladder. So a lot of times you'll be tempted to run straight to that ladder and climb up it. It is a bad idea. These guys will knock you off that ladder and wreck your stuff. So once you get up the ladder, just dip your head in wax again, and there's going to be a short area right here where there's going to be a couple of thralls that ambush you. Yep, right there. And then yeah, it's pretty good damage for that little thrall axe. And then there's Lothric Knight with an ultra great sword over here, just looking over everything. Pretty cool. Kind of wish they didn't have character lights in this game though, because it's just like, I don't know. I feel like the lighting would be way cooler. I'd appreciate it more. But you can just sneak up behind him and backstab him, unlike what I did. I did really poorly at it. So pretty much just keep your distance, make sure spacing, and then you can see the crystal weapon, which is pretty cool. And then his Lothric Knight, Lothric Knight Ultra Greatsword has lightning damage built in, so it does lightning damage and magic damage, which is pretty cool. That's a thing that wouldn't really help you out very much in the game, but it's just a cool thing. That's that scale that I was telling you about. If you jump down, so that's it from like 4 different angles now. Totally not worth it. Normally I say Titanite scales are always worth it, but those Corvians are just not fun to fight. So right here you're gonna fight a D&D party, which is a fighter, a rogue, and a mage. They're three NPCs, and they all aggro together, which I'm gonna find out the hard way in a minute, because I thought I was gonna be slick and weasel my way up there and hit them with like a bow. So it was a real painful creeping up. Equipping my bow. Thinking I'm so slick with my poison arrow. And I'm like, yeah, got the rogue coming, and then all of a sudden you turn around and everybody's coming. No. So these guys are a little smarter than that, sadly. So this can be a really interesting fight. I've never had this fight go down the same way twice, and I've done this fight a lot of times. So you want to be really careful of that wizard, as the sorcerer can hit you for a lot of damage from far away. And the sorcerer has a parrying dagger, and that the wizard is that's one of the few times that like the railing stopping things has helped me as opposed to screwing me, like the weapon reflecting. But back to what I was saying, that sorcerer is money at parrying you. Like it's disgusting. Like just doesn't matter, it just gets you every time. And so you want to be really careful about just directly attacking that wizard with other characters around, because she can parry you and other people are riposte you. And I've had that happen where I got parried by the what the hell is that scholar doing over to the left, like bottom left of the screen? He's just shooting arrows at that ladder. That is the weirdest thing. Back to what I was saying, yeah, I got parried by the wizard one time. This is like one of the times the fight went really, really poorly. I ran up, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna kill the wizard first. And wizard parried me, and then the Lion Knight guy with the giant axe went in. See what I'm talking about with that parry? Just like money with it. So you want to be really, really careful. The fighter guy like riposted me and like just hammered me down. It was really bad. So that clearly I didn't win that one, because it was really hard to recover from that, because he does a lot of damage. And so now whenever I take him on, it's usually fighter first, rogue second, wizard third. Because as long as she's not, because she can riposte you, not riposte you, but she'll parry you, but she won't riposte you, because she's got her staff in her right hand. So she'll just kind of knock you away and then hit you with a spell, and the spells are never as damaging or as punishing as, you know, a riposte would be. So that was a really neat fight. I like that one. I'm glad I got it on video, because it's a cool one. I like the way that happened. Like, it was kind of a running fight, and a lot of interesting things happened, and it went kind of both ways, where I was doing really well and then they were doing really well, and then I kind of came out on top, which is how I like most of my fights to be. So this is not the last shortcut in the area, but the second to last. This is going to go all the way down to, yep, the Duke's Archive bonfire, and then this is the beginning of the run up to the boss. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to level up, because I want my intelligence at 15, because there's an area right here that just is ignorantly hard without it. So I'm going to get rapport, and I'm going to show you how cool this thing is, because having rapport actually makes this really good too, because this becomes a really, really viable and profitable farming spot. So as long as you get homeward bones, which you should be able to buy for 500 souls apiece infinitely, this is actually pretty quick. So you go up the elevator, out the door, and to the left up this spiral set of stairs, and there's going to be 3 winged knights, but these ones are not like the winged knights that you met before. These ones have actual proper wings. These guys are legit, and they hit really hard. So as they're coming down, you start hitting rapport, and then what happens is they're going to fight each other, and that's great, because now that's free damage that you don't have to do, and those are 2 enemies that are not going to deal with you right now, so you can watch them fight for your entertainment. And then you can come in, and they can still hit you, so just be careful. Like you saw, I got hit, but you can go in and help your guy win, and then just come up and he'll just pretty much just take it. You just poke him a few times and you backstab him, not a big deal. And then that one just stands there. waiting. So as long as you don't activate him, this is pretty good. And then you just walk over to him, right about to right here, and you'll see he changes his stance. He's got a little like fog on his head, and he'll just let you backstab him to death. I mean, they will become aggressive eventually, but you should do enough damage that they'll die before they go, excuse me, I was distracted. Yeah, you should do enough damage that they'll die before you, before they turn aggressive. So after this, you go around and you're gonna find your last Estus flask shard. So this will get you to 15. So after this, you should have 15 Estus flasks at +10. And if you're using the Estus ring like I am, it's gonna end up being like having more, because each Estus flask is gonna heal you, you know, a large percentage more than normal. So you can go longer without using them, and you don't have to use like 2 or 3 of them. Because I think with without the ring, I need like 4 flasks to heal entirely, and with the ring, it's only 3. So it's a really big difference, because you know it's 25% better, and 25% of 15 is like 3.5 or something like that. So it's another 3.5 Estus flasks. So it's like having 18, which is really good because more is better. And then you have items like Divine Blessings, and sometimes you can use Embers, and that'll increase the amount of healing items that you have available to you, which is good because more healing items is better. So over here you get the Divine Pillars of Light in that cage, and there's a lot of lore speculation as to what's going on with that cage, which is really interesting. Check out Vadi Vidya for really cool, well put together videos on lore speculation. He's got a really nice voice, speaking voice, so it's just good. He has a way of making it seem cooler with just the way he presents the information and the videos he's putting together. It's all really cool. It's got a lot of production value. So you go down onto that rafter and slide down that ladder, and there's going to be Twinkling Titanite, and you got a Divine Blessing, which is great because I use those periodically, and you should too, because healing is excellent. And the more you have, the better you can do. So right now, I'm going to go out here on a Homeward Bone, and I'm just going to like smash cut to myself leveling up right now. So it was just like 5 minutes of footage of me like walking to a place and doing some like stuff that you don't need to see at this point. You probably have a good enough grasp on the mechanics of the game that you don't need to see like literally everything that's happening. So I just basically sped up the elevator ride and then started getting to this run up. So you go straight, and if you play Demon's Souls, this is going to remind you a lot of Boletaria, because this reminds me a lot of it. Definitely a more detailed, prettier Boletaria, but still a really cool thing. I wish they would have made more like this. I'd like to see a remake of Demon's Souls, honestly. It's just a straight HD remake, like with today's graphics. I would play the crap out of that, because Demon's Souls is excellent, and you can only find it on PS3, which sucks because Sony has the licensing to it. So that's why Dark Souls happened, because they wanted to continue Demon's Souls, and there was like licensing issues because FromSoft, like, I don't know. In any case, Demon's Souls is excellent, and this part reminds me of a cool part in Demon's Souls. So anything that does that is cool in my book. So right now I'm just gonna, you know, report this guy and watch him deal with the shit I was dealing with while I sit there jerkily moving my spear. And I'm gonna have a teammate now who's pretty good, because you're gonna notice like he's just cutting these guys down. You just hit that dude for 1,000. Like, that is so much damage. So much damage for... I mean, obviously it's on an enemy and not you. Like, if he hit you for 1,000, that'd be a lot. He might actually hit you for 1,000. Now that I think of it, because I have like 1,700. And, you know, that'd take about a little more than a third to a half, so that could be about 1,000 when it hits me. I wish enemies, when they hit you, numbers popped up over your head so you knew exactly what was happening. So basically I was just trying to slow that guy down so he could actually just get into a fight with these guys. So as you can see, rapport is like excellent. It leads to like really hilarious things like this, and that little interaction. It kind of can trivialize a lot of stuff as long as you can get it off before. So this run up, it just makes this run up a lot easier and more entertaining because you just get the Lothric Knights to do all your dirty work for you. But it only lasts so long, so you want to be careful. So as you get up here, go to the right, and then this is the last shortcut. And this elevator ride is super long. This is at ×4, and that was like, you know, that was a couple of seconds. So that's like a 4-second ride at ×4, 4, 8, 12. This is a 16-second elevator ride. That's 32 seconds if you want to go all the way down. So I just went down. Sorry, I just was ranting. But basically, like the first elevator that you found with Sigurd, if you hop off and then you hop back on, it's gonna go down. And there's a Titanite slab over there, which is a cool little goodie, nice piece of loot. And it's basically free, and it unlocks a shortcut to the Dragon Slayer armor bonfire, or the Lothric Knight, not the Lothric Knight, the Lothric Castle bonfire. And I'm pretty much just erasing this right now to see if there's any summon signs, because usually this hallway is just like popping with summon signs. But so I made a grave mistake by going down and not coming back up, because I really could have used the other 3 Estus flasks that I would have had by taking that shortcut. And you'll see later.
Mind you, the mantle of Lord interests me none. The fire-linking curse, the legacy of lords, let it all fade into nothing. You've done quite enough. Now have your rest.
So this boss fight is probably the coolest one in the game, in my opinion. It's super fun. I like it a lot. I like the dynamic. I like the lore behind it. I like the dialogue. It's all really cool. So mechanically, this thing is pretty sweet. And there's feathers everywhere, so it's just an interesting place. So I should probably talk about what's going on this screen before I start gushing about it all. So with this guy, you want to, what I like to do is I like to get like a medium range and then get in and hit him a few times, and he's going to teleport around, and that's going to break your lock, and that sucks. And then he'll do that attack, which I will have varying success in dodging. But at this point you've seen most of the attacks that he's going to have in this first phase. And he's also weak to fire, like really weak to fire. So if you have a pyromancer, like, you're gonna be doing a lot of damage by this point. You should be doing like, you know, if you're maxed out, you'll be doing like 1,200–1,300 damage each chaos bed vestige, which is a lot. There's a lot of damage. That's like 3 times 2 of my hits. So you got 6 of my hits per throw. So pyromancers can really deal a ridiculous amount of damage. So with that attack, like you saw, you just want to dodge like last second, like really stare him in the eye and wait for that attack to come full circle. So if you're doing the fire fades ending, like if you're gonna let the fire fade into nothing, there should be like an option to talk to this dude and you know, have him help you out, because you won't really need to kill him if you're gonna let the fire fade, because you can just let him live. There's no reason not to, just letting it fade. So I don't know. That's just a little story thing that I noticed.
Rise if you would, for that is our curse.
It's one of the few times the mouth actually moves in this game when people are talking, and that's good. It wasn't very good or very well rendered, but you know, that definitely would have killed that for me if it was just like lips sealed saying words. So phase 2, he's going to be on his back. So it's going to be similar to phase 1, but with extra attacks. He's going to have these homing white beams of magic, kind of like how Aldrich does. So he'll send those out, and then he'll teleport, do his attack. And then there's teleporting in that. So it seems like a lot to handle, but once you get used to it, it's not that bad. And then you have 2 life bars, so with this, you want to... Oh yes, he also does like a soul spear after that attack, so more stuff to the attacks, less open. He's less open to being attacked, but Lothric Elder Prince is still weak to fire and bleed. Lothric Younger Prince is the same, where they're weak to, I think the Younger Prince is weak to everything, or weaker to everything, because he's just frail, he's not really wearing anything. So, yeah, I switched to the Sun Princess ring, and that probably cost me more health than it'll heal me, because I noticed I was running low on Estus, and it's not doing too well. So, back to what I was talking about. If you hit him in the back, you'll hit the Younger Prince and the Elder Prince, and the boss fight is over when the Elder Prince, the Younger Prince is dead. And the Elder Prince is just going to keep getting revived by the Younger Prince while the Younger Prince is alive. So basically, if you can get behind him and deal extra damage to the Younger Prince, that's going to help you out in the long run. So when you kill the Older Prince, well, you know, deplete his life bar, he goes over there, he'll heal, and then he will get back up. And that's your opportunity to do some damage to the Younger Prince. But you want to be careful, because he does, as he heals him, he also does an area of effect spell that does a lot of damage. So you want to get your damage in, but you also don't want to linger. So right now, if I had those other 2 Estus, I would be pretty much golden. But because I don't, you're gonna notice in a second I'm gonna die. Because I am very low on health. But this is an exciting fight either way. I was pretty jazzed up. I was like pretty happy that it was going the way it was, because I like fights to be close, not so much like a landslide. But right there I get stuck, and it all comes down right there. So I'm pretty sure that sword hit would have killed me anyway, but I probably wouldn't have panicked rolled as much if I wasn't stuck. But that's neither here nor there. So that was my excited little jerk there. And now I'm going to the Lothric Castle bonfire so that I can utilize the shortcut elevators. And I figured I'd report that dude and let the knight kill him, which is pretty funny. And then I just reported the other guy so that he'd leave me alone, because I don't really need the FP. So I'm just changing a little bit of equipment so I'm not fat rolling, and I got rid of the shield because I'm not using it. But I did an Ember. I thought I'd be slick and use an Ember as a heal, and you'll see that And I'm also going for my souls, which is like, probably shouldn't have did that, because that's like 1/2 of a health bar. So that's one Estus flask down basically. But I thought I'd be slick and use an Ember as a heal. You'll see in a second. This fight does not go well. So right there, I go to use it and I get killed. So I was trying to use an Ember as like an extra Estus, and it ended up blowing up in my face, because now I have 15 Estus and I'm dead. So pretty sloppy play on my part. I should have known that you can't really heal with an Ember that fast. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like when I fought the Dancer, having that Ember was super clutch. Like it was basically, it brought the fight back when I Embered to heal. So I was hoping for a moment like that, but that's not always how everything works. So just making sure my gear is good to go, and switching to the Blade of Thorns. And I don't have a shield because I'm not going to use one, so I'm just going to be bare on the left arm, and I'm going to one-hand the sword because the one-hand moveset's better. And I got the Karthus Rouge, and I get smacked. Going for my souls. It was like a, like hitting a dog in the nose with a newspaper. Like, bad, don't do that. That's what that reminded me of. So pretty much I was like, alright, screw it. Ignoring my souls, started fighting. So the straight sword worked a lot better for me because the swing speed's a little faster, so I can get 2 hits in. And you notice I bled him really quick. And I'm doing a little better with maintaining my lock, because it's like part of the battle right there is just maintaining your lock and getting to the point. So I figured I'd heal because he's gonna hit me. I'm just not gonna avoid it. And then I'm gonna heal again right after I grab my souls and almost get smashed in the same way I did last time. So right over here is like, whoo, getting close, playing risky, almost getting killed because I'm going to grab my souls that are like ultimately not important. And that's that. So I skipped the scene so that I can buff my blade. So you can see getting attacked from both angles. I got winged with one of the spells, and thankfully it doesn't stagger you, because that would be just really ignorant. So part of the fun, not the fun, but the challenge of this fight is to make sure that you always try to have a lock on, or at least know where he is, because he's always teleporting around, which I think is a really cool thing, because he doesn't have use of his legs, but he's one of the most mobile fights in the normal game, because he's always teleporting around because of his brother. So pretty much the bleed strategy is working really well for me, and right here it's going to really pay off, because I am just, man, I just cranked a bunch of damage into him. 3,500, and at this point you can get a couple extra hits in the back. Pretty sure that probably should have got me, but I'm not going to complain. That was like just ultimate spacing right there. So yeah, as you can see, there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff happening. Just moving around, you gotta be dodging. Still get it. At least you can't get hit by that when you're on the ground, because that probably would have killed me. So yeah, so that's that. This is the last cool boss in the game, in my opinion. It should be the final boss. I wish it ended on this note, because this is the last, you get some character development, like really cool dialogue, just a lot of cool stuff. Like, he's just not about this life. the whole linking to the fire thing, and I think that's really neat. Instead of the whole everybody needs to link the fire, like I like it. He's rebelling against it. It's cool. So you can get Lorien's greatsword or Lothric's greatsword, and if you get both of them, you can combine them together. And so in the next episode, we're gonna be fighting the Soul of Cinder, super generic boss. Definitely don't like the choice of them going with that, but it is what it is, and here we are. So this has been episode 18. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we see you again. Bye.